everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about what it takes to... live in a society?
Really? Yeah, I mean, basically, we're going to talk about talking to people in a position of privilege. For instance, let's just say, I don't know, Christians. About their privilege and about why you're not trying to ruin their life by making them share nice things.
Yeah. These are different tactics than just check your privilege.
Right. Yelling at someone, strangely, doesn't seem to be an effective way of... I mean, maybe it can work. But there are also other ways of communicating.
Sure.
And we're going to explore those.
Yeah.
Because obviously, Frank, you and I are professional communicators. This is what we do.
It's all been figured out.
We're clearly exactly the right people to figure this out for everybody.
Indeed.
So we're going to do that later in the show. But for right now,
Coming up right now.
coming up
Coming at you right now.
now, let's do some stories.
Dan,
Go.
I had a mission this week, Dan, and it was to absolutely, under no circumstance, do a story about the election.
You, sir, we're living in a dream world.
And so I scoured and I looked, and the media is just obsessed with one topic only.
Now, here's the good news.
Yeah.
The good news is that this is the last show
Yeah.
for a long time that you and I will have to be talking about this shit.
Yeah.
We can hope.
Yeah.
Also,
Well, then it will be talking about the president-elect.
and
Depending on who it is.
Aftermath.
Yeah.
And whatever. However, oh God, I shudder to think about the aftermath. Let's not think about that. But I will say this.
It's going to suck.
A lot of the people who are listening to us right now are in the future. They
already know who won.
They're living in a post-election
Unless it's another
time.
Bush-Gore thing.
Oh, God.
Where it just drags. Remember how awful that was? Just dragged on.
Don't.
And
Why? Why are you hurting me like this? We don't have to do this. It's just a couple days away. We'll be okay. Everybody, let's just hold hands, and we'll be okay, I think. Don't sing that song. No, nobody likes that song. That has never been a song that any human has ever enjoyed. It's just inflicted on people. Anyway, you have any... So
I've got a story about a rabbi.
Oh.
This is the best I could do.
Did he walk into a bar with a priest?
No,
And
but
a nun?
he dug deep into Scripture, specifically in Deuteronomy and Numbers, and he found that if he analyzed the letters in the text, there's a code.
Of course, there's always a code,
and you can find the word Donald. The word Donald appears in Hebrew letters next to the word Nasi, which is Hebrew for president.
I'm glad it's not Nazi.
I know, that's what
Which
I wanted
is
it
closer.
to be. But anyway, yeah, this is Rabbi Matityahu Glazerson.
Not Matisyahu, who is a rap, like a hip-hop star.
He's the author of more than 30 books in Hebrew, and he's an expert in decoding hidden meanings of ancient Hebrew.
In decoding or in
Meaning,
quote unquote
decoding,
discovering?
He does all of it. It sounds like he is just into this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like you can find whatever you want just by like looking at letters.
Well, do you remember
and doing what are those puzzles called where you circle the
acrostic
word
or whatever?
finder,
Right? Yeah, word find. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I feel like
I can find all sorts of shit if I really tried.
Right. And it was funny because since I was a kid, when I have those word find puzzles, my goal is always to find words that aren't in the list of words I'm meant to find. Yeah. That's always been my goal.
And they're there.
And they're there.
They are there.
And they're dirty.
Yeah, and he really is doing word find. Like, he has words going across and he has words going up and down. It's pretty impressive.
What happens if I shift everything one to the left? Then look, Hillary. I think, it's so funny because this happened like several years ago. Somebody wrote some sort of computer algorithm that like checked the Bible and then, they ran it and they found that like, if you look at this, then the word, it predicts the assassination of Kennedy and blah, 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 because it says, it says Kennedy here and it says assassination there and they're crossing each other. And and it's just like, I'm going to guess that if you ran the same thing with Tolstoy, you'd get great results. Tolstoy predicted all the same shit.
Oh, yeah. No, this is really serious stuff. Of course, because this is a news article I found, they had to go find some Christian guy who might, have something to say about it.
Yes.
Matt Slick. He's the founder and president of Christian Apologetics and Research Ministry.
There's nothing suspicious at all about his name.
He's slick. He says he kind of initially says this whole thing about how there are numeric meanings in the Bible, in Scripture.
There's a whole book called Numbers,
and they're sometimes interesting, compelling. However, the Bible code concept, in my opinion, seems a little over the top. Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
But then, so he goes through this whole thing of like, okay, la la la, and then he says, even if Trump does win, it does not mean the rabbi's Bible code is authentic. And then here's the choice part. Okay. Quote, in order for me to be convinced, such a person would have to predict numerous things in advance, not just one. So he's fine with the whole concept. You just need to replicate your outcome, right?
So wait, he's asking logic of this process?
He's an apologist. Yeah, of course he's.
What's amazing?
Trying.
What's amazing about all of this is that like nobody's ever been able to predict anything with these things. What you can do is like go back and like enter, ask your little algorithm to find words of stuff and then say it did predict it. We just didn't know the code.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
but here's the problem, Dan, is I guess earlier this year, a scholar by the name of Kikar Hashbabat, I didn't get that right. He's an Haredi scholar.
I thought you were going to say hermaphrodite. I don't know why, but there you go.
He predicted that Hillary Clinton would win using codes found in Genesis and Leviticus that made up the phrase Hillary Nessia, or Hillary President. So there's the Old Testament or the Torah,
right,
or whatever it is, needs to it has some conflicting codes in
It's arguing with itself.
Yeah.
It's fighting itself.
Much like this nation, Dan.
Well, what's strange about this, and this is really weird, is that we've never discovered any contradictions in the Bible before now.
That's the real discovery.
That's the real discovery.
This is the story we need to be focusing on.
It's the story of a lifetime. The Bible has contradicted itself, people. Even its magic code can't be consistent.
Oh.
It's almost as if everyone who says anything about the Bible to us is interpreting it based on their own already formed opinions. It's almost as if that's happening.
No, Dan.
I don't know. You're right. You're right. That's not fair.
That's
not fair at all.
That's just not nice, Dan.
No, it's not. I'm going to take us to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. There's been a development in a case brought by the ACLU. In 2012, there was the ACLU filed a lawsuit against the against Rowan County, North Carolina, because their board of commissioners, every time they had a meeting, one of the commissioners would give a prayer. in the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's
lovely tradition.
Right? Make sure everybody feels happy and welcome the whole time.
Including God.
You
got to get God into the whole thing.
Jeebus.
Yeah.
Now, this has been a problem, of course, because the one way that has been shown to be legal for allowing prayer in a public meeting in the United States of America is by opening it up to everybody.
Yes.
And saying everybody can have people from all different faiths can come in and pray.
Right.
But not everybody gets elected to the county commission. So all the county commissioner prayers have been Christian for like a million, billion, zillion years.
Okay.
So there's this lawsuit. They won in the lower court. Then the county commissioners decided to appeal at great expense to the taxpayers of Rowan County. And they lost on appeal. Or rather, our team lost on appeal, and they won. It was struck down, and they said, yeah, you can go ahead and pray like you never prayed before. I think part of the argument being that, like, someone who's from a minority religion could get elected, and then they could pray in whatever goofball way they want to pray.
Just get yourself elected, people, and then you can pray all you want.
Pray as much in any whatever Satanist way you want to. If you are a Satanist and you want prayer in your thing, go ahead and get elected in Rowan County, North Carolina. You can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah.
Work hard.
Yeah. This is all on you, people.
Well, there's an even newer development, which is that the ACLU has asked for an, what is it called? En banc review.
En banc?
ENBANC. It's French.
En banc.
It means en banc.
En banc.
You're just saying gong gong gong.
En banc.
Gong gong gong.
En banc.
En banc review, which is basically asking the entire Fourth Circuit, like all 15 justices, because the appellate court had 3 justices sitting, and
it's not enough.
It was 2 out of 3.
Not enough.
Well, so they are going to get their en banc review, which means that
so this is like a super band type thing.
Yeah,
this is like when you call all the super friends together.
That's right. This is the entire Justice League.
Literally
the
Justice League.
Yeah, coming in to rule on this subject. So we'll see. They've been granted the review. One of the big case that sort of comes up as precedent for this is the town of Greece versus whatever it was. Where was that?
Greece.
The little town of you remember that town?
In North Carolina?
No. This is the one that went to the Supreme Court a few years back. You don't remember that? Greece versus Galloway. Town of Greece versus Galloway, which went to the Supreme Court, which basically the Supreme Court said, hey, as long as it's open to everybody, you guys get to have prayer in your meeting.
Okay.
So the ACLU is confident that they can get a reversal.
Well, good for them.
We'll see what happens. En banc. That the big takeaway here is that we learned about en banc, which I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right.
And you're not pronouncing the G.
En bank.
En bank.
Yeah, that works. They're having an en bank. Embankment.
Okay. Well, I have a sad story, Dan.
Oh no.
This is the story of a transgender woman in Russia.
Yeah. That doesn't seem, those are not good phrases together.
Oh, should I add the word Muslim?
Oh God. Well,
I wasn't going to yet, but since you kind of
you're just combining a bunch of bad words.
Yeah. So a transgender Muslim woman in Russia.
Yeah.
Got married.
Okay.
To a young man, young cisgender man. And her body has been found hacked into pieces.
Oh, jeez.
And left, basically unrecognizable.
By
There,
whom?
well, that's still under investigation, but this was not without provocation, I suppose. Her father, not provocation from her or her husband, but from her father, Alim Shaikh Aliyev is his name, and who called for his daughter's execution on Russian television.
Wow.
And he uses, he calls her, him and all that kind of stuff. He says, let him be killed. I don't want to see him. Bring him here and kill him in front of my eyes.
Wow. That's some...
So he issues basically he's calling for an honor killing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's apparently there's this term. I really, really searched to see if I could find anything. Perman. That's what technically I guess his father or her father issued.
Is it like it's like a fatwa, only it's meaner?
Yeah, and well, yeah. In which, of course, he invited people to kill his child. And
man, you wouldn't want to get that invitation in the mail. Mr. So-and-so cordially invites you to kill his child.
Yeah, come to Perman.
Right.
Come to our Perman party.
I'm going to have to RSVP. No. Sorry.
That's terrible, Dan. Being transgender is, of course, not accepted in Islam.
Right.
Which apparently...
It's not accepted by a lot of people.
Yeah, what I find interesting is that I feel like Christianity has to dig deep in a way that like a lot of Christians don't approve of being transgendered.
No.
Right? Or transgender, rather. But where exactly, what are you basing that on?
Right, exactly. Show me the part in the Bible where it talks about that.
Whereas I'm not sure if anybody knows where Islam finds its banning of being transgender from. Please let us know.
I mean, I think...
But it apparently, this quote right here, let's see. This is from Dagestan. No, I'm sorry. They don't say the person's name. Damn it. They talked to a Dagestan, which is the town where the murder took place. Mufti, which is of course a legal expert who interprets Muslim law.
Right. Not real law, everybody. Not Muslim, an actual
fake
legal
law,
expert.
Fake law.
Fake law.
He interprets fake law. And says that changing sex is totally forbidden because it means that a man will be a woman.
And there's nothing worse for a man to be.
No.
Like, being a woman's about the lowest thing you can be.
Yeah.
It's like, there's spiders, and then there's dogs, and then there's women.
Right.
And then there's, like, giraffes and monkeys, and then men.
Pigs. Don't forget they don't like pigs.
Pigs are somewhere in there. I'm not sure if they're above or below women. They're in there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, well, they don't make pigs wear veils, so
That's
probably
true.
above women.
That's true.
Yeah, pretty awful. Yeah, I mean, of course, a tragic thing that goes without saying.
And after she found love too, that's just so harsh.
Yeah. Got married.
She had launched a life.
Got figured out. And, a good-looking couple, too.
Yeah?
Look at the two of them.
Oh.
They're
cute.
Here they are on their wedding day. Right?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Good-looking bride, good-looking groom.
Yeah, very much so.
Like, they don't look particularly happy, but that might be more
that's probably
cultural.
That's a function of being Russian, I think. I don't think you're allowed to be happy.
And let's add on Chechen.
Chechen and Muslim and basically
not
You're not allowed to be happy at that point.
But this photo of them, they look happy.
Yeah, they're cute.
And really, stupid Islam.
Stupid Islam. When will you learn?
Here's the deal, Dan. I know. I hope they learn someday. The thing that really I just can't wrap my head around is the whole honor killing thing. Parents saying, "Kill my child."
Yeah.
This is a fucked uppery that is more fucked up than most fucked up things.
It's pretty intense.
This is complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah. Any religion that would even if it's not a teaching of the religion, but any religion that wouldn't like heavily push you away from any, religion should be making you love your child more.
Yes.
And love other people more.
Yes.
That's what the goal of religion should always be every single time.
But if religion can't bring itself to that point, Dan, maybe just shun.
Just a shunning.
This is where shunning looks okay to me.
Just right? So suddenly, the horrific act of shunning your own child seems like, oh, that's merciful. That's nice.
This is where the Jehovah's Witnesses really have it figured out.
This is where, right?
We got it all figured out here.
We're
not calling for people's deaths.
We're just destroying families. We're not killing folks. We're not dismembering anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'm moving on.
Thank you.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes.
We're not paying royalties, Dan. Stop it.
That was only 3 seconds. We're okay. That's a state, Oklahoma, in this union of ours.
You are correct, Dan.
You and I have spent some time there.
I have spent more than some time there.
You've spent too much time there.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent too much time there, and it was only 3 days.
That's really rude. Yeah.
No, I'm sure that there are lovely things in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
One of those things, however, is not State Question 790.
790?
Which I only just stumbled on.
How many questions are they asking?
I don't know. 8,000 of them.
Oh, my God.
State Question 790.
Poor voters.
I don't know how I missed this. You and I wondered what the response would be, if any, to all of the history we've talked about over the course of our doing this show, vis-a-vis the Ten Commandments monument.
Yes,
it was there, then it was gone, then they're trying to get it back. What are they going to do? Because here's the thing, the ruling that took it down, seemingly for good, was to do not with the United States Constitution, if you'll recall, but with the Oklahoma Constitution.
Yeah.
And the Oklahoma state constitution had in it a measure, Article 2, Section 5, that said public money couldn't, or public expenditure or property could not be used for religious purposes. Now, when they passed this, it was apparently to prevent the Catholics from doing some shit. Unforeseen consequences, Oklahoma. What you didn't know was that you were being nice to non-Christians in the meantime.
Yes.
And possibly putting limits on what the religions that you do like can do. So, I mean, not really, just putting limits on state money for religions, which is right and good.
Yes.
Well, State Question 790 asks to overturn that particular part of the Oklahoma Constitution. So they're trying to, get rid of that.
Wow.
I find that. So that's the update. The update is.
So is this?
They're trying to get. Now, what's really stupid about this is that they're trying to overturn that section of the Oklahoma Constitution, not apparently realizing that same concept is enshrined in the United States Constitution.
Yeah, they're not going to get very far.
And so all they're doing
cost themselves more money
is setting themselves up for new and bigger lawsuits.
Yes, but Dan, what you have to understand is that they don't want to be one of the state. They don't want to have any part of this whole separation of church and state thing.
No, they hate separation of church and state.
So what they're doing is this is just a statement. all they're doing is spending a lot of money to just make a statement because they know what the outcome's going to be if they have half a brain. Right?
Well, I mean, the outcome is that
Because
all of these
they're
state
gonna-
senators are able to like make a shit ton of hay about it.
Right. But they're going to
Governor Fallon's able to get some.
they're going to throw this part of the Constitution out, the
Right.
state constitution.
Right.
They're going to march back up to the Capitol grounds and hoist
Put
that
another-
monument
another
right back
rock
where
up there.
it used to be.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And then another lawsuit's going to be filed.
Right.
It's going to go through the courts, the federal courts.
Right.
And it's going to be ordered that it gets taken down and removed.
Right.
The problem at this point is they're going to create a giant precedent for the whole nation.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, maybe.
Although it seems like that precedent exists.
It does exist. Here's the thing. What's funny about this is that, yes, I think your prediction is right. Now, mind you, and we don't know what happens, you and I, Frank, future listeners, you listeners who are in the future, you time travelers, know the outcome of our national election.
Right.
You know what happened. We don't know, Frank, right now.
Yeah, that's true.
538 keeps telling us things, but we don't know. We don't know what's going
They
to happen.
tell us to relax, but to be a little anxious. At the same
Right,
time.
exactly.
So don't worry too much.
But we're worried.
It's going to be okay, but it's not going to. It's going to be rough.
I'm worried. But as everyone is trying to point out, especially these Christians, whoever gets elected to the presidency decides who's on the United States Supreme Court.
No, that's true.
And that could actually change how this outcome looks for the next while. So, assuming Hillary is our next president, then this whole Oklahoma thing is a huge waste of time and money.
Huge.
It's huge. If Trump's elected president, that's a tougher thing to say.
Yeah.
Because who knows?
That's the whole thing with Trump is that it's a big who knows. It's a big who knows because
nobody knows.
Because he's just out there raising the rabble.
Yeah. Rousing the rabble.
Rousing the rabble. It doesn't sound right to me.
He's doing
both. He's
both.
raising rabble while rousing it at the same time. And he, in order to potentially get elected, right? I mean, I firmly believe that.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He's a man who has shifted his political allegiances and opinions, and he's gone back on public statements on X, Y, and Z. And the evangelicals are all still supporting this horrible human being because they think that if he gets elected, he's going to put the nominees in place that he said that he would.
Right.
But this is not a man of word or conscience or...
No, this is a man who will say anything to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And once he gets it, he doesn't give a fuck what you think.
And he's going to laugh.
He's made that clear.
Yeah.
We will probably have Omarosa as one of our Supreme Court justices. Do you know who that is?
No.
She was a famous contestant on what his reality show.
Oh. Yeah.
That's who we'll have. We will have Billy Bush as a goddamn Supreme Court justice.
Sure.
Or at least a cabinet member. At minimum, he'll be in the cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
His buddies. He doesn't care how something impacts the country. He cares how it impacts him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Anywho, one of his buddies who might get an appointment, shock and horror, William Johnson, a white supremacist Donald Trump supporter of California.
Who has now made a name for himself here in the great state of Utah.
Yes, because he paid for, out of some PAC money, a robocaller.
Right.
That would call, it ended up calling, 193,000 Utah voters, urging them to support Trump rather than McMullen. This is specifically targeting Evan McMullen.
It's not, no targeting of of Hillary necessary here in Salt Lake City, or here in Utah.
And so this is a little pull quote from the automated message, which I'm sure ran much longer than this. But it says, one of the things it says is, Evan has 2 mommies. His mother is a lesbian married to another woman. Evan is okay with that. Evan is over 40 years old and is not married and doesn't have a girlfriend. I believe Evan is a closet homosexual. Don't vote for Evan McMullen. Vote for Donald Trump. He will respect all women and be a president we can all be proud of. Okay.
The he will respect all women thing is
That's amazing.
just too much.
That's
It's
unbelievable.
So good.
But the real shocker here for me, the thing that I was like, Google, please tell me if this is true.
Yeah.
Is this assertion that Evan McMullen has a lesbian mother who is married to another woman.
Right.
Apparently, this is true.
It is true. I had to look it up too, and it took me forever to find it. By that point, like, I was looking it up when the thing first came out, and I was like, that can't be right. Is that right? And it was very difficult to find. Now it's a little easier.
It's right.
Because it's wide out in the open thanks to Mr. Johnson.
The logic in this whole thing is hard to sort of map out. Because the whole he will respect all women is absurd. He's over 40 years old and is not married and does not have a girlfriend. I believe Evan is a closet homosexual. He does give off a little vibe. But
I'm wondering, yeah.
I already had that kind of in the back of my head before this even came along, and I didn't even know any of this kind of stuff. Not that having a lesbian mother makes somebody a closet homosexual. Or
obviously,
an open homosexual.
Obviously, it makes you gay. You're clearly gay. If you have lesbian mothers, you're gay.
Well,
just automatically.
You have lesbian genes in you.
Right.
You know, you're half lesbian.
And as we all know, gay is genetic.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, because, it's the whole identical twin test.
Right.
Right? If it were genetic, both would be.
Who cares? It's so silly. But what's amazing about this, by the way,
anyway.
Did we even mention that Johnson, this robocaller guy, is this wildly crazy white supremacist?
I mentioned he's a white supremacist, yes.
I just think that, like, here's the big takeaway for me on these robocalls was that Trump, I believe that Trump has sort of provided this space for open bigotry to feel like it can just come out. Now, you're probably getting to this, but Johnson apologized.
Yes, so it's actually shocking to me that he did, quote unquote, apologize.
Right.
He says, I am truly sorry. I am sorry for the mean-spirited message, and I humbly retract its contents. I mean, this may have come after the Trump campaign tried to distance itself.
Right.
My guess is he probably got some nasty phone calls, even though they're not supposed to be in communication.
Right.
Campaigns and PACs.
Well,
maybe they send it through back channels.
Right, exactly. The campaign calls somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
And then that.
But nonetheless, he continues on. I sent the robocalls out because Utah is a strong family values state. And America and the West is gripped by an extreme and fatal malady. Failure to marry and have children. The white birth rate is so astonishingly
that's the malady.
low. Yes. The white birth rate is so astonishingly low that Western civilization will soon cease to exist. I felt that Evan McMullen typified that perfidious mentality.
Perfidious.
Perfidious.
He's got words.
Woo! All the best words.
That's oh my god.
So yeah.
First of all, does he know what perfidious means? Because I'm pretty sure it just means dishonest.
Dishonest, untrue. Yeah, exactly.
That's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about dishonesty.
The perfidious mentality, dishonest mentality.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here's the point. White people having less babies means the death of Western civilization.
It's
oh my god.
Why the obsession with how white you are?
Because Because white people are the only good people, and everybody that's hues unwhite are not civilized, apparently. Oh my God. It's just, you think you've made progress because they're quiet for a while.
And Trump gave them permission. Yeah.
And then Trump's like, hey, everybody, we can all say this shit. And they're all like, woohoo!
Oh, yeah. let's start.
Let's say them.
Open our flap traps.
Yeah. I mean, one of the stories that I didn't do this week, but was thinking of doing, was this one about the church in Mississippi, the black church that was burned.
Yeah.
And then the words "Vote Trump" was spray painted onto the side of this black church.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you guys are really Christianing very wrong. When you're burning other people's Christian churches, you're Christianing wrong. Like, you can't Christian wronger than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a it's a strong message that they're sending.
Oh yeah, very strong message, and that message is we still live in the 1830s, and we want to and we don't like.
The other question that I would have is there really any risk that Mississippi might not vote for Trump?
Right.
Like, do they really need to go around committing horrible crimes?
Well,
in order to convince Mississippians to vote for Trump?
Rural Mississippians at that. I mean, but black Mississippians seem not to be too enamored of Trump. Don't know why.
Very strange. Clearly.
But yes,
but
you
the
can just let
shows that Mississippi's going to vote for fucking Trump.
Well,
right?
what we need to be aware of is that the people who committed this crime may not have access to technology. They may not know that there are such a thing as polls that can tell them that they're safe in their state. And also, it costs money to drive somewhere. To drive out of state and burn somebody's black church out of state.
So you think maybe because maybe these people are, really media savvy, and they know that the picture is going to be taken and spread all over the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And so the threat isn't just for their own community. It's for everyone. They're saying, we'll burn all your churches down if you don't vote for Trump. None of this makes any sense, Dan.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Once you say it out loud.
It's almost as if they're just a bunch of idiots who are racist assholes doing asshole things.
I don't know, Dan. That's quite the claim.
It is quite the claim. I'm going to end us with some good news. Or some interesting news. I don't know if it's good news per se, but it's interesting.
All right.
Puerto Rico. American protectorate. Territory, whatever. Yeah. Who knows? Anyway, they're Americans.
They are.
Just sort of lesser Americans. Anyway, in Puerto Rico, there's the gubernatorial race of Puerto Rico is happening.
Puerto Rico.
Fabulous Puerto Rico. A woman is running for governor there. Her name is Alexandra Lugaro. And she's come under fire in Puerto Rico because she is a non-believer in a god.
I'm sorry, what?
She does not believe in a god, apparently, and she actually...
I'm sorry.
I know. It almost seems impossible.
These words don't really fit together in the same sentence.
Politician and unbeliever, right. And also in a place that's got to be mega Catholic. Like, Puerto Rico has got to be, like, pretty heavily Catholic.
Right.
But... she came out, so, like, it came out that she may not believe in God. Here's what she did. Doubled down. She just released a video on Facebook that said, that basically was, like, awesome. It basically said, here's my story. I was raised Catholic. I went through, I learned all the scripture. I know it all. I've done the whole thing.
Right.
But I eventually just decided that I don't believe in it. I am an atheist. And I would never push my religion or my beliefs on anybody else, and I'm running and that's not what this is about.
And her chances of winning?
We'll see on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, is she?
I don't have
how does the party system work in Puerto Rico? Do territorial? Does the territorial system follow sort of the Democratic Republican model?
I have no idea.
I know.
I don't know anything about it, to be perfectly honest.
Interesting.
Frankly, it's enough to me that someone who's actually in the race, a young woman, youngish woman, anyway. I'm just surprised by her youth.
She's young and atheist and apparently somewhat intelligent.
And and willing to own it. That was it.
Yeah.
I was just, I just thought, here, you can see a picture of her. She's
young enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe in her 40s.
Puerto Rico would be proud should be proud.
Should be proud to have her.
To have her as their
governor.
That would be.
But who knows? Maybe she just fucker hold her entire all of her chances are just out the window now.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But
who knows?
I was just, boy, that was neat, because in these United States, that kind of talk is basically poison, political poison.
Well, she's not in these United States.
She's in those United States.
That territory over there. These United States and those territories.
It's called the United States of America, and then some crumbs here and there, some little bits and bobs that we have scattered about. Guam. Nobody talks about Guam.
Oh, well, Guam politics are fucked up.
Well, if you'd like to tell us all about Guam politics or Puerto Rican politics or anything that you'd like to talk to us about, you can do so. You can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Sure. We'll do so.
It happens. People get let in, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, Dan.
well, hi, Frank.
Hi.
I'm glad we're back.
I'm glad too.
After that little brief hiatus.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe some people heard a Trump ad.
Maybe. Probably not, though, because a lot of folks are listening after the fact. Some people don't even hear ads.
I know. It's weird.
It's sad for them.
All right. Well,
yeah.
This is a certain Tim Wildman.
Ooh, Wildman.
Well, it says M-O-N.
Wildman.
Wildman.
He's that man is Wildman.
And he has something to say about secular progressives.
Yeah.
Should we take a listen?
Oh, I'm all ears.
I'm not a historian, but I would say this is probably the single most important election since 1860, when Abraham Lincoln was elected and the country was immediately embroiled in a physical civil war. I think this country is just as divided, and the direction could be either one way, secular progressivism will control our nation, or we will at least begin taking steps towards the ideals of the founders and returning to the worldview expressed in the Judeo-Christian religious tradition. I think this election, Tuesday, coming up, is on that scale.
So secular humanism, that would be, like secular progressivism. Progressivism maybe is more directly political. But these people, they hate God. They hate the God of the Bible. They hate righteousness. They hate the Ten Commandments. They hate the idea that Jesus Christ is exalted as the only way to God the Father. They hate life. I mean, these things, they hate freedom, many of them, and want to control us. And this is a very real force that is in our country today. And that's what these people, that's who the spiritual warfare is I guess against.
Are we still allowed to use the word fucktard?
No, we're not. It might apply, but we should.
We're not allowed to use that word.
No, I don't allow me to use that word.
Well,
I allow
it just was the only word that was coming to mind through the whole thing, Dan.
They hate freedom, and they hate our 10 Commandments. I will say this: I only hate like 3 or 4 of the 10 Commandments.
What about life? You hate life?
Hate life.
You hate life, Dan?
I hate it so much. I can't stand it. I prefer to be dead. Which I will be someday.
Yeah.
Must
destroy life.
Yeah.
Must destroy life.
Oh, you know what? Until you actually said that phrase, destroy life, I didn't realize, but now I realize that the word life is code for abortion.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually put that together yet.
Oh, no way.
I'm like, hate life. No, I like my life. My life's cool. Life's cool. I like life. But no, they're using coded references.
Yes.
That's not what that word... The word life does not mean abortion.
Well, there's also doctor-assisted suicide.
Right.
Oh, this is their way to kill people.
They just want to kill people.
They want to kill the
old lady that got the tattoo. You read about that?
No.
There's an old lady that got a tattoo. She was in Canada, and they've got doctor-assisted suicide in Canada now.
Yeah, okay.
So she had "Do not euthanize me" tattooed on her arm. Like a big dumb idiot who doesn't understand that suicide is you euthanizing you, not the doctor. The doctor helps, the doctor enables, and then you do it. But no.
Think of it more as methanasia.
God, that's awful. I'm sad I didn't think of it. All right, let's move on. We had some folks write into us. Let's see. Here we go. Jonathan wrote in and said, I had to write in about my chick tract experiences. This is a reference.
Yay!
Remember, we talked about Jack Chick and his amazing little comic books for Jesus that he wrote. He passed away. He said, so Jonathan says, my dad is a Southern Baptist pastor from Oklahoma. Oh, lucky you, Jonathan.
I have some sense of that.
Yeah, exactly. He discovered chick tracts in the local Mardell's Bible bookstore.
Oh, boy.
And fell in love with them. He would buy a large bundle containing various titles once a month and give me and my brothers several to hand out to our friends at school.
Oh.
Which I did because I was the worst. And yes, Jonathan, you were. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're great. On our weekly trips to the grocery store, we'd leave chick tracts behind magazines in the public restrooms and stuff them into cases of beer.
Oh my God!
Jesus Christ!
That's amazing.
My family's house would have been the most hated one on Halloween because my parents did a tract Tootsie Roll bundle every year.
Oh,
that's
God.
only slightly better than my grandparents who gave away chick tracts and dental floss, no candy. Oh, they were begging to be egged. Just
dental floss.
Begging to have their house just vandalized.
Little packages of carrots.
Oh my God, no. You're going down at that moment. He says, I loved them as a kid because I thought they were a fun way to do God's work. As an atheist, I love them because they're freaking hilarious. I keep a small collection to remind me of the dumb little kid I used to be. Oh, Jonathan.
I love it.
So
sad.
No,
that's wonderful.
That's basically what I imagined. You know, it's like here are things with which you can really just either annoy or amuse those who believe something other than you.
Yeah.
And those who believe the same thing as you, what are they going to do with it?
I love the whole just sort of hiding them places
right?
for people to come across them.
Yes.
I just love the image of these kids sort of gleefully stuffing them places.
Oh, just thinking they're so smart.
And that it's going to do some good in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I love it.
Because it's totally going to convert people when they read your stupid comic book.
When they open up that, the 12-pack of Bud Light, and they shamefully get home with their Bud Light.
Right. They're feeling bad because they know they're sinning. and then they open it up, and there's this chick track, and they're like,
Oh, I forgot I was going to hell.
oh, right. Jesus. Putting the beer away. Let's just not.
Yeah, because after beer, the next panel, if this were my life in a chick track, the next panel would be I'm shooting up heroin.
Right. Beer is a gateway drug to gay heroin sex parties or something. AIDS.
love it.
You
It's
drink
AIDS.
You drink one beer and then you've got AIDS.
AIDS. That was the AIDS beer.
Oh shit! AIDS beer.
AIDS ale.
AIDS. It's. I mean,
No, AIDS would be a lager.
it really would be, and kind of a crappy one at that.
A light lager.
Bill also wrote into us, when I was at BYU in the late 80s, this is Bill referring to, we talked about BYU housing.
Oh,
if you'll recall.
yeah.
And how even off campus, you have to abide by BYU, like your housing has to be.
Essentially on campus housing.
It has to be approved.
Yeah.
BYU approves every single.
They
like-
basically privatized their on campus housing.
Right.
In a sense.
So
Farmed it out.
Bill is saying, when I was at BYU in the late 80s, there was a proposal by the university fathers to require RAs in all off-campus housing.
Oh, my God.
For those of you not familiar, an RA would be a resident advisor. I don't know what it stands for.
A resident assistant.
Yeah.
Resident.
It's a narc.
Yeah.
It's someone who lives in your dormitory who's like sort of in charge and like is supposed to keep everybody on from like
Resident asshole.
shooting the weed or like, smoking alcohol
weed.
or whatever.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so
Just the worst.
he says there were lots of heated discussion and even protests, and in the end, the idea went away.
Yeah, because that's
It's a terrible idea.
a step too far.
At the time, I remember asking myself, what kind of Weasley suck-up would want to be an RA in an off-campus housing unit? Then it hit me that there are a number of wannabe general authorities that would sign up. That was the saddest realization of the whole episode.
Oh, God.
I'm so glad that my 2 college-age daughters are happily at high-quality state schools.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right, should we listen to a voicemail, Dan?
I would enjoy that.
Well, we got a call this week from someone who has a strategy.
Oh,
for kind of fucking with the system. So
strategery.
Let's listen in.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Willie from Southern Utah. I felt compelled to share a thought on the whole Donald Trump ad situation that has some people upset. Right now, both candidates are all over the internet, and I see and hear a few Trump ads throughout the day. But not only does it not upset me, I actually kind of look forward to them, especially on a platform like YouTube, where I'll let the ad play its entire length, and I'll even click on the link. And by doing this, I'm ensuring that I'm costing him as much money as I can and providing as much money in ad revenue to the creator of the video. So anyway, next time anybody hears or sees a Trump ad, be happy that you are, as our polygamous friends often call it, bleeding the beast. All right, guys. Thanks for the great show. You have a great one. Bye.
Thanks, Willie.
Bleed the beast! You and I are doing our part, Frank.
Yeah.
To try and bleed that beast.
Oh, my
Apparently, unwittingly, it's not like we actually chose to have Trump ads appear on our show.
No.
And yet, there they were. And what we didn't do, though, was try and put a stop to it.
No, because I find some humor in it.
I think it's hilarious. We just bash the guy the whole time, and then he comes on and he's like, "Hey, vote for me." We're like, "Nope, don't vote for him. Do not vote for that guy." But we will. I will take his money.
Yes. Take the beast's money.
Yes.
Bleed the beast's blood.
Bleed away, motherfucker.
But no, I think that's a great strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And also just knowing that that ad and that money was wasted on you.
Right.
There has to be some pleasure in that. It's different than broadcast. I mean, Willie makes a great point in that, right? Because broadcast is just this big blanket thing. They're just paying to get it in front of eyeballs, and it just happens.
Right.
Right? Indiscriminately.
Correct.
This, on the other hand, brilliant.
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be targeted, and every instance of like a click or the whole ad playing or anything like that, that's the moment that they're charged
Right.
for it.
They think they've actually gotten to somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But not Willie.
No, nope. Nope. Clay wrote in, he said, "Yo, Frank and Dan, I enjoy the show a lot. In pondering whether God's chosen tool..." This is a reference, by the way, to our discussion last week about Trump being... Remember that guy? We played some audio of a guy who said that Trump's a bad guy, but God's using him for good purposes. And we sort of mused on whether or not a bad guy used by God for good purposes gets to go to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
So Clay says, in the battle against the... he says, "I offer this exhibit from the New Testament. Judas, as I'm sure you know, was just doing God's dirty work, which had to happen, or the convoluted solution to problems he created would not have come to pass. So Judas betrayed his homie Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. He was necessary to the process, but God determined that it would have been better if he had not been born at all. So bad was his crime."
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Someone had to do it.
Judas offed himself either by hanging himself. Yeah. Anyway, like the whole point is this. I'll let Clay wrap it up. Clay says, "Anyway, this is a clear-cut evidence that God is perfectly willing to use bad men as tools to accomplish his absurd pretzel logic schemes.
Yeah.
Then torture them forever, despite the fact that they helped him achieve his ends."
Well, and imagine the conversation in the pre-existence. Son, my beloved son, I have an important mission for you. Right.
I don't think it's that. I think they had a planning session. They sat down. It was a strategy session. How do we make this work?
Yeah. Well, okay, that one over there.
Yeah.
That beloved spirit child.
Right.
We're going to send him down, and he has to do this thing, and it's awful, and we're going to cast him into outer darkness. But it has to happen.
It's got to happen. We have to do it, right? There's no way. There's no other way to achieve this, right? Are we all really drunk right now? I am. Anyway, it's fine. This will work.
Wife number 10 is distracting me. What? What did I agree to?
Anyway.
What's going on? Oh, Judas?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never liked that guy. When I made him, I didn't make him very good.
It's been a bad seed. He's kind of annoying. He's a little bit of a teacher's pet.
Yeah.
Always offering to help out with shit.
Oh, you know what that guy likes? Silver. Let's fuck him up.
Oh.
Do we have another voicemail?
We do have another voicemail. Oh, I almost forgot about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a caller. Oh yeah. Well, we talked about the whole cremation thing, and so she's responding to that.
Hey, Frank and Dan. It's Melissa from Spokane, Washington. Listening to the recent podcast, and you're talking about cremation and all the crazy things that the higher-ups in Catholicism say you cannot do with the body after it's cremated. And it's just, this year has been really terrible as far as death. In my life, one of my very good friends passed away in July after a 4-year-long battle with cancer, and he's only 34 years old. Just married a year before and has like a 1.5-year-old baby, so it was like super devastating. But anyway, his whole family's Catholic, and he, I guess as just a way of upbringing, was a little true to the Catholicness. He had a Catholic funeral, but he wasn't like super uber religious either, so he wanted to be cremated after he had the funeral, and he knew he was going to die a few months before he actually did pass away. He was stage 4, so they were preparing for this. So he had all of his wishes laid out with his wife. And then after he did pass away, it was just the most asinine bullshit. So they wanted to do a viewing and then the funeral with his body in a coffin, so they could do the whole Catholic rigmarole with it. And then he was going to be cremated. But his whole family fought his wife new widow under the age of 30 with a 1-year-old baby to take care of about this issue because they wanted him to be buried, according to all the Catholic crap. And what makes me so mad is just that not even that they keep coming up with new rules about what you can't do with someone's body after they've passed away, but that all these people will just willingly follow along with it and not question it, even though it's absolutely ridiculous. I just cannot handle it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for what you do, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Well, Melissa, that's, yeah. One of the great things about being in a majority Christian country is how many Christian things we get to participate in against our will.
Yeah.
I'm getting married. Oh, it's a funeral. Blah, blah, blah. All these things. Please come to this thing. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll come. I'm sorry about your loss, actually.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, that is. But, you know, and I wish that people found it easier to respect the dead's wishes.
Right?
You know, like, I mean, I know that funerals are for the living more so than they are for the dead, but there's also, you know, like, there's someone's last wishes.
Right.
You know?
Well, and, you know, here's...
And that has to have some value. That has to weigh with people.
But beyond that, if there's a widow...
Yeah.
It's not just disrespecting his wishes. She's still there.
Yes.
And now she has to fend off all of these...
Well...
This onslaught of people who want something other than...
Parents are always going to feel like their wishes for their dead child...
Trump, whatever.
Trump, you know, this interloper...
Yeah.
You know, who's come into their child's life.
Yeah.
You know,
it is, you know, when my dad passed away and I opted to have him cremated, I was questioned about it at the funeral.
Yeah.
An old lady came up. Why did you have him cremated? Because none of your business. That's why. You dirty old lady. I don't want to hear about it. You fucker. That's why. I did it to piss you off, you little bitch. I was not happy about that.
What were your dad's wishes on the issue? Had he expressed, "I want to be buried"?
No, he had expressed that he wanted to be thrown to wolves. But
right.
But this was totally fine.
But that's not an option.
Right. So this was fine. He would have been.
Well, but you could find a wolf pack somewhere and spread his ashes amongst it.
Yeah. Of course, that's. Did you know that scattering ashes is illegal?
Technically illegal. Yeah.
Guess what? Breaking the law.
People breaking the law all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Indeed. All right. Well, we have some donors to thank, I would hope.
We do have donors.
Oh, good.
We have 3 new patrons on Patreon this week.
Oh, good.
We have 2 new members of the faithful, David and Cody. So thank you to the both of you.
Oh, you faithful members.
And then we have a new pope. There's a new pope in the house, Dan.
Pope!
We have a pope in the house.
There's white smoke coming out of the chimney. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
For Pope Samantha the First.
Oh, Samantha. Pope Samantha. How we love you.
So thank you, Samantha. And of course, thanks to Judy, our current savior,
our once and current
one and
savior.
only. Thank you, Judy. You can dethrone Judy. It's savior is not a permanent position.
Our savior is unlike other people who just stick with one savior. You can claw your way up to savior status.
Yeah, these are titles that can be bought with money and gold.
Oh yeah.
So
anyway, if you too would like to be beatified, sanctified,
I feel like there's a line from the temple that's really close to that. Satan says something about
from the Mormon temple ceremony.
Titles, yes, about titles being purchased with these are not these titles. You cannot. I mean, we're gonna have to look that up.
Yes,
because that's definitely a thing. But thank you guys so much. And if you'd like to become a patron on Patreon, please go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab. There's a couple options there, but click on the patron or the Patreon option, and then once you're on our page over there, there's options for rewards, and you can see how we're doing on our goal. We're up in the 90%. Level, 90s. We're up in the 90s now.
Guys, we're so close. We want to do this for you, for us, for everyone. We want to do it, and you can help make it possible. We're right there. Just help us push straight through. And you get to hear your name. You get to be a holy person.
Part of the show.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes, sir.
We have stuff to talk about.
Here's the thing. I was looking on the interwebs. I don't know if you use this tool that's out there now. It's called the intertubes. It's a series of tubes. The web.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Internet. The webinet.
Yeah, who described to that guy the internet?
That got him to think that it was a series of tubes.
You see, there's these tubes.
Well, here, basically, imagine it's like, at the bank when you drive up and you put the things
pneumatic tubes
into a pneumatic tube and the information travels all the way to the person inside the bank. Oh, I get it now.
Sending an email.
I finally get what the internet is. It's a series of tubes. Anyway, in the tubes, I stumbled on an article that was sort of about down ballot issues. That, the title is The Down Ballot Issues People of Faith Are Watching.
Oh, okay.
And basically what it pointed out to me was the fact that people of faith are very concerned about losing their privilege. But that's not how they think that's not what they think they're concerned about.
Right.
What they think they're concerned about is the degradation of society as blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But it's things like assisted suicide, it's death with dignity laws.
Right.
It's the Oklahoma question that we talked about earlier. It's legalization of marijuana. It's repealing the death penalty.
Never.
Even minimum wage seems to be a problem on their minds.
Wow.
Because they want to raise that up. And gun control. Like, all of these things. But here's the thing. We heard audio earlier of a man saying that liberals progressives want to take away liberty. They want to take away freedom.
Bullshit.
But it feels like losing freedom to them. And that's what we need to talk about.
What is the freedom that they're losing? Can we define the freedom to not have to see anything that's different?
The freedom for them to dictate what we should be doing
and caring about and not doing. Isn't that the key here?
What it feels like to them is that they don't get to tell us what the laws have to be anymore.
Right.
And that's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
That same guy on the audio that we played talked about the founding fathers. Get back to what the founding fathers wanted. As though the founding fathers would have agreed with them, which almost none of the quote-unquote founding fathers, these people who drafted the United States Constitution, these people who basically decided what this great experiment called America was going to look like.
Yeah.
They were so not what these Christians think that they were trying to do. Like,
right.
It was a totally different animal entirely. Most of them were deists, to pronounce it how you will. They were guys who maybe believed in a god. Nope, not that. You can't pronounce it that way.
You said I could.
Nope, I changed my mind. They maybe believed in a god, but they certainly didn't want to enshrine any of that into how this country worked.
Right.
What they wanted was a country that was pluralistic, that was able to serve everyone, in every citizen, relatively equally. Now, at that point,
no one could argue that they didn't really foresee
no
what pluralism would mean.
And they weren't exactly like friendly to all of the, like, pluralism at that moment didn't really include black folks, for example.
Or I love the use of Judeo-Christian all the fucking time from these guys because they were no fans of Jews at the beginning.
No. Exactly.
Right. So already they've accepted an evolution from some sort of idea of original intent. Which, by the way, is fucking bullshit. I hate the concept of original intent.
Right.
Who the fuck cares? Who cares what people 200 and some odd years ago
thought was a good idea?
Thought was a good idea. They were making a country that worked for them in their time.
Well, also
based on the necessities of their lives.
And they saw that problem and said, "Don't care what we say.
Right.
If it works better, change it."
Yes.
They said that. They were pretty clear about that.
Otherwise, they would not have put mechanisms in the Constitution itself for changing the Constitution.
Right.
And the Constitution is not some sacred document that cannot be touched because...
Oh, Frank just died.
Because holy men, right?
Yeah. No. These men were not. These men knew that they were not being guided by some godly hand,
providence.
They wanted to make sure that there were mechanisms. Like, they knew they were going to make it wrong. They were going to fuck it up somehow.
Right.
They couldn't predict how.
Right.
So here's the question. We all know this. We all understand that this is the case. How do you talk to your father-in-law? That's the question.
What happens when Thanksgiving comes along?
It's going to come at the end of this month. Christmas is just around the corner. You're going to be forced into a room with these people. How do we... And they're going to start the conversation because you're going to know better. You're going to say, no, this is a bad idea for us to talk about. But, there's a little too much eggnog in the room.
Yeah.
And they're going to start this conversation.
Ugh.
And I wanted to discuss if maybe there's a way, because you can yell at each other. That can happen. You can do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to solve much.
No.
But maybe, who knows? Maybe you feel better. Maybe you're happier just yelling at the people that you see as bad, and they're happy yelling at the people that they see as bad.
Yeah.
And then everybody walks away yelly. But I was thinking, what if... Are there ways to gently ask these people to consider their own privilege without saying, check your privilege, asshole?
Right.
Because that's what, there's a lot of yelling out there, and I don't see it helping much.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Could it be a series of questions that you ask?
This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it has to be in the form of thought experiments.
Yes.
In the form of asking people to put themselves into someone else's shoes. You got to be sneaky about it.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Ha, you're being a jerk," and let me point out why.
Well, couldn't you ask something like, let's say the guy's name is Jim.
Yeah.
Couldn't you say, Jim, is everybody in the world just like you? I mean, couldn't you try to reason with him a little bit?
So I think the key is, and maybe that we're going down a Bogosian road here. I think a little bit, which
does feel a little
which
bit
is just, first of all, here's what I like about what Peter Bogosian says in his book, Manual for Creating Atheists, which is to first start off with respect that person, and say, you know what? I want to hear your point of view. And you have to mean it. If you want to do this right, you have to hear their point of view.
Yeah.
And then when they say their point of view, say, that brings up a question for me.
Right.
And that question is, what about a Hindu person?
Right.
Who doesn't believe what you believe, who has a different belief? How is that person meant to feel by your believing this thing?
Right.
Or what about, let's just bring up the death with dignity idea.
Right.
Because someone could say that's suicide. That's against God's law, blah blah blah. That one's an easy one to just say, I read this really interesting article about a woman who was terminally ill. It was taxing on her entire family. They were losing gobs of money. Money was just pouring out the door because they were keeping her alive. And all she wanted was an end to her pain, which was going to come anyway.
Right.
And an end to the suffering of her family.
Right.
Now it makes sense to me that that it's her life and she should be able, since she's going to die anyway, to just die quickly, painlessly, and on her own terms.
Right, but it's not. It's God's decision when we all die.
Right, and
so you're playing God.
So the question becomes, okay, I hear that's where you're coming from, and that makes sense to me. But that's not where everybody comes from. So should the law be based on your religion? Because that seems wrong. That seems strange to me. Help me understand why the law should be based on one religion and not open for everybody for everybody. Right. Because I think that's what you and I were getting at when we were discussing this topic, was that this is actually not limiting, this is opening it up.
Yeah, because if the assertion that the progressives are trying to take away freedoms is just it's ludicrous.
It's absurd
in my mind, because ultimately, if doctor-assisted suicide is legal, if abortion remains legal,
right,
you get to choose how you live your life.
Jim, our friend, our hypothetical Jim, can still suffer through his cancer for as long as he wants to.
He can let God kill him instead.
Wait it out.
And he can disown his daughter for having an abortion.
As he likes.
That is all up to him.
He doesn't have to have an abortion ever.
No, never does. But it doesn't prevent anybody from it grants the most freedom. Right. And freedom, and you can't take that. The logic does have to have an ending point, because I don't think that, I'm not a libertarian nor an anarchist.
Right.
So,
at some point you have to say, you can't, even if your religion says it's okay, you can't murder another person.
Right, exactly.
You can't go and steal from another person.
Right.
But where there is genuine and honest disagreement over, like for instance with abortion, and abortion's a tough one. If you can avoid it, just don't get into it. But abortion's
that Thanksgiving conversation, probably best to avoid it.
Yeah, because someone's going to get stabbed with a turkey knife. But
there will be tears.
But the idea,
one of your aunts will get up, leave the room in tears.
Right, it's true, and probably leave the county. But here's the deal. The idea, you can still be, I am actually on abortion, sympathetic to people who are anti-abortion. And I'm sympathetic in the sense that they genuinely believe that a human being is being murdered. And I can see that point of view as a valid point of view. I don't agree with you. I don't think that zygote
is a human being.
That collection of cells is a human being yet.
It's a misunderstanding of what makes
or it's not
something human.
Or it's just a different understanding of what makes something human, and I'm sympathetic to that. But as long as reasonable intelligent people can disagree,
I think when the assertion, Dan, is potentially murder, you better be scientifically on pretty solid ground that that's not a human being. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more to it than the personhood of the little collection of cells.
There is a lot more to it than that. But what I'm saying is, because their argument is that it's murder.
Right.
And so you better understand how it's not murder.
Well, and
because that's pretty much the crux of their argument.
Well, but there's more to it than that, because there are times when, as Donald Trump points out, later term
the ripping out of
later term abortions are necessary, and that person could be potentially, possibly a viable person. That collection of cells has now become something that's potentially viable.
No, and you're right, and now you're weighing things like one life versus the other life.
Right. You're weighing the life of the mother versus the life of the child, or you're talking about body autonomy, or you're talking about a whole bunch of things. It's far too complex to boil down to one issue. However, I think that the point here is that
they do. That's the issue.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I am trying. The other side, the people who oppose abortion, pretty much on all grounds. The only one I ever hear about is that it's murder.
Right.
I don't know if there's some more nuanced argument.
But what I'm saying is,
abortion.
I
understand that the argument for choice is nuanced and difficult and has all these different facets to it. All I'm saying is, you are going at somebody whose only argument is going to be that it's murder.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But what my point becomes then, at that moment, when I'm dealing with Jim, the abortion is always murder, hypothetical guy, my point is that I can say to Jim, I sympathize with where you're coming from. I don't agree with you, but I think that intelligent people can come to different conclusions on this point. And I think that that's and you're coming from an honest place. But what I believe is, when genuine people who are intelligent and informed can disagree on a point, on a thing, then we can't make a law that says absolutely X, because there isn't absolutely X. And so what the law has to say is allow, and then each person can make their own decision. Yeah. And that's where law has to be, because law is about protecting everybody. Law is about serving everybody. And when we can't come to, because we can all agree that if I kill you, that is not acceptable in this society.
Right.
So there's no reason why we have to disagree on that, and that's not hard. But I mean, that's the whole point here is, if you want any common ground with Jim, if you want to be able to have this conversation with Jim, what you're going to have to do is get to the point where you say, reasonable people disagreeing means we don't make the law against it. It means that we allow it, and we allow people to make their own call.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving,
That's
everyone.
so going to work. Pretty much, I think I solved it. I think we have basically solved the problem, so everybody can go safely.
Dan just healed America, everyone. This is it.
But I mean, I think you're right. I think that where we need to go with all of these conversations is just honest questioning.
Yeah.
And it can't be I'm going to get you to where I believe.
Right. No.
If the way that you're doing these questions is, I will try and walk you carefully down a path, I will lay the stones for you to come to me, then you're doing it wrong.
Right.
The question is, can I come to you? Can we come together? And can we find, what common ground can we find?
Right.
And can we find understanding between people? Because that's what's really going to get us there.
Right.
Is understanding between people. And any little nugget of understanding that we can get together on is a victory. Even if we still disagree with each other on the large issue, the common ground is the victory. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know that it's the victory, but it's you might have it's a victory.
When you can get another person a little more empathetic, a little more sympathetic to a person outside of their sphere, that's huge to me. These are people who are trained not to do that, who are trained to know the black and white of the thing.
Well, the thing is, in my mind, it's they're given really simplistic. They're not required to on an issue, especially like abortion, to go any further than the very simple explanation.
Right.
Right. Their preacher told them it's bad and that it's murder, and that's that. And they're conservative folk to begin with, and so they have a just a predilection toward conservative thinking. And it's not to say that conservative thinking can't be nuanced at times on certain issues, but on these issues, it's just not.
No.
And so So yeah, so if you could get somebody to like acknowledge that there are just differences of opinions and that has value,
and
then yeah, that seems like a little bit of a victory,
right? And Joe Muslim and Sam Hindu are actually have to be served by the law too.
Yeah,
and even Alvin Atheist, even us.
I know.
Even we have to be served by the law.
I know.
In order for this to be a democracy.
I know.
Sorry, guys. We're ruining it for everybody, Frank. I think that's the key. The key that we need to all remember is that we atheists are ruining it for
everyone. But what about Chucky Jehovah's Witness?
No,
I don't like him.
Fuck that guy. I don't care a shit at all. Let's not serve that guy. Well, if you guys have something you would like to add, if we've been idiots about this whole thing and we're wrong entirely, please feel free to tell us so by writing into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, I like it when you do that. I like voicemails. They're fun. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
Yeah.
It's a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Yeah, and when you get there, don't be a dick. That's the only thing
the rule.
I ask. Hey, we got some people to thank. I want again to thank our donors, our patrons,
amazing people
who have done so much for us. And if you would like to join their ranks, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon, the patronage button, whatever it is, whatever it says.
Yes, and thanks to Mackenzie for all of her help on Facebook.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's still doing it. Why? And no, thank you. I'm glad. I'm just glad.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
Yes, and thank you, dearest listener, for tuning into us. We sure do appreciate it when you do.
Bye-bye!